Have you been thinking of launching your own podcast, but not sure where to start? Well, we were in your same position when we started. That's when we found Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout makes podcasting easy. With Buzzsprout, you can launch a professional podcast in no time. In fact, Buzzsprout has already helped over 100,000 people get their podcast launched. With Buzzsprout, you'll get a great looking website, audio players to drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening, and tools to promote your episodes, and much, much more. Plus, Buzzsprout publishes new blog posts, YouTube videos, and podcast episodes on a weekly basis to help you become a better podcaster. So if you're ready to start your own podcast, just click the link in the show notes and receive a $20 Amazon gift card for signing up. This lets Buzzsprout know that we sent you, and it also supports our show. Buzzsprout, the easiest way to start your podcast. Thanks.
I feel like you can love multiple people regardless. And technically we already do. If you really think about the relationships that you already have,
Preach, preacher. Preach, preacher, kid.
However, I don't think that you can love people the same way.
Wow.
So like, I love Joe, but I don't love my other partners like I love Joe.
But that's not a scale of more or less.
But that's not more or less. It's just different. It's just different. But like,
you love
if
your
you
family.
have multiple kids, I'm assuming you love all of your kids, maybe differently, but you love all of them.
You might love one more than the other.
You might have a favorite, but you still.
I tell all my kids they my favorite. Now
they're all your favorites.
They're all my favorite, but they're my favorite in different ways. I love them in different ways. That's the truth.
Right.
You love your family, but you also love sports. You have a you have a favorite movie.
Tell them, Joe. Tell them, Joe.
Yeah, you can.
I love golf too, but I don't want to go bang it. But shit. And here we go. You're listening to the Kings Can Move On podcast with your hosts, Jason Stewart and Frank Rainey.
Welcome, everybody, to the Kings Can Move On podcast. You have your co-host right here, Frank the Tank, a.k.a. Big Reno in the house. What's happening?
And what's up, everybody? It's your boy Wood, a.k.a. Lil J, a.k.a. Casey H-Town. Welcome to the Kings Can Move On podcast.
Nigga, I just said two.
You said what?
I said two AKAs, man.
I don't give a good damn what you said, brother, man.
What do you
don't run ish over here. What?
Man,
I mean, hold on.
We're supposed to energize off the co-host. We's co-hosting this shit together, man.
If we co-hosting, why you cut my ass off in my flow? I had a flow going, and you just cut my shit off.
I'm flowing my energy. Let me go ahead. I'm shutting up.
Starting off strong, guys. Starting off strong.
This is how it go.
Every episode.
This is on script. Shit. This is how it go. And what I was gonna say, listening and watching, a subscribe be nice. Like that would be good also. I mean, if you don't mind. I mean, but listen, since we off script, this episode and this topic has been one that Frank and I have been looking forward to probably all season long, and just never found anyone to come on until now.
They've been some punk ass, scary ass motherfuckers. Now we not gonna have all this cussing. That's the only time the devil gonna get in me right now.
Lies.
Sip that holy water.
Lies.
All the lies.
I need a mute button or something.
We got Corinthians open right now.
The book
you would think my daughter ain't even upstairs.
Yeah, well, that don't ever change nothing. Anyhow, we do have Joe and Tiffany, and they also have a podcast. It's called the Melanated Podcast. Is that correct?
Correct.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us. Happy to be here.
and behind them they have a lovely picture of an onion. I mean a booty. I thought
Yes,
it
an
was-
onion.
An
it's
onion
an onion.
booty.
Make you cry. Make you cry.
Yes.
We like
definitely-
art.
it's definitely an onion.
Yes. Yes.
So, again, thank you guys for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
And before we get all deep and juicy into the topic, why don't you tell us about your podcast? What it's all about?
All right, I'll start this one. So, we are the Melanated Podcast. We are a BIPOC polyamorous podcast that talks about our journey as a people of color, going through figuring how to navigate polyamory and navigating open relationships. So our podcast goes into different topics that have to do with seeing more than one person, how it may relate to folks that are curious, or even if they disagree with opening their relationship. There are strategies, techniques, tools, resources that we use to maintain our relationship that anyone can really use to better their relationship. So we try to touch up on different subjects. We cuss on our show. We've drank.
Okay.
Like we are like yay close to like having sex on this podcast, but it's like, I don't know. We need like video too on it too.
Gosh darn it. I mean, it sounds like a golly gee good program to listen to.
Willikers.
Yeah.
But, I don't know,
No.
You got me
Hell no.
having sex on the podcast. I'm still like,
Yeah.
did
Well,
I
shit.
cover
Eyes open now. Shit.
Yes, you covered everything. Yes.
So when you say polyamorous lifestyle, what exactly is that?
So BIPOC polyamory.
Yeah.
So we're talking about just how Black people operate in the community, because even though there are definitely lots of different people that are out there that do look like us or just people of color, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of representation of us out there. So that's where we are with this.
We decided to be the representation. So because when people think of opening up the relationship, they most of the time just automatically go to, this is a white people thing. And because it may be the white people thing, it's like, oh, them crazy folk like right over there, and like yeah we a little crazy, but we found some way to like iron out like how to make the most of this relationship. And it's like because of, say, the stigma that comes from polyamory or opening relationships, or even just stigma in the Black community and how we make our connections, how we bond, how we function in our relationships, that there just sometimes isn't always like enough positive representation on, hey, this is how we can come together to, say, work out the things that we're going through, like making it okay to talk about those things that we have to feel like we have to be really vulnerable. It doesn't always feel okay to talk about, like, let yourself be vulnerable with folks. That's always like a struggle when it comes to like people of color, and it's understandable just because of all the stress, trauma, everything that we've been through. So we want to create that space for people to be able to talk about their concerns, and we'll help you find the answers. We'll help you work through the stuff. We'll at least show you what it looks like to have that sometimes uncomfortable conversation.
How did you guys come about with that, coming to that sexual standpoint? Because in all actuality, it is something that you say, hey, I want to be with more than one person. How did you guys come about that, or when did you come about it, and how did y'all find each other?
Your story first on that.
Well, let's reverse that. How'd you find each other, and how long you been together? How about we do that?
Yeah.
How did we find each other, and how long have we been together? Is that what you said?
That's a good start. Yeah.
Well, which time is really the question, because we actually knew each other from high school. So
cool.
That was kind of random.
Yeah. When we were first knew each other, we were in choir together in high school. She was a senior when I was a sophomore. I spun her around on stage because we were yeah, we was just like, all right.
What? 2 years. I
that's
need at
still
least
cougar.
like
That's still
10,
cougarish.
15 year span for that to make sense, but whatever.
No, he
Anyway.
trapped it.
You're my cougar.
Anyway.
Kitty pets.
Stop.
But we lost contact with each other just because well, when she graduated, like we both had our separate lives.
Mm-hmm.
And in between that, and we'll get into that story next, but we had a pretty wild life that led us to opening the relationship on both of our ends, at least with
different
Tiffany.
people.
Yeah, different people. So with Tiffany, well, I'll let you explain on like how you were.
I feel like polyamory has been something that I've always been. I just didn't have verbiage associated with that.
Same.
So I was utilizing like, you know, it really would be nice to connect with someone. We have our time together, maybe for a couple of days throughout the week, and then we go off and do whatever it is that we want to do. And I don't necessarily want somebody up under me like 24/7, but I'm okay if they want to explore other things. So I was utilizing these phrases or that verbiage when I was discussing like what I want from a relationship. And then say 2016, 2017, I had a conversation with a family member who actually told me that they had opened their marriage. And this was pretty significant to me because it was like that their marriage was like the goal that I thought that I wanted. And, you know, they've been together for almost 20 years at the time. And it just was like, holy crap, what is that? And what's going on? And as I started doing like a deep dive into more information about it and what that actually meant, I was like, oh, this is what I've been saying this whole time. And so officially actively participating in polyamorous relationships since 2018.
So in previous relationships, right, and
Mm-hmm.
as you're expressing these, you know, desires to do what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
were your other partners open to it, or were they against the idea of doing it?
They were open to it for themselves. They were not open to it for me. And so I will say, and there is kind of a negative connotation associated with that. A lot of polyamorous people were cheating in their monogamous relationships, and that's how they figured that out. I was actually not one of those people. So
Really?
I was faithful in my
She's
monogamous relationship. I'm not pure, but faithful. And so it was, unfortunately, I was the one that was getting cheated on in those relationships. But that also was, I thought that I wanted a monogamous relationship anyway. So I was still kind of searching for that. But as I got more educated and had more experiences with other people, it was just like, no, maybe I do want something different. And that's how I kind of fell into this.
Okay. And then Joe, so your story we get to polyamory is what? You said you're the wild one, so you were just already into it.
I am of the Lord.
You're anointed.
I am blessed. I have gone through many a folk to make sure they praise the Lord's name. That's my
they call out the Lord, huh? Yeah.
They call out the Lord, not me.
I seen
not
the
me.
Bible in between those booty cheeks. Is that a Bible?
Yeah.
Looking real close, huh?
Triple that communion wine.
Real close. Yeah.
But so I started off pretty traditional, like pretty heavy traditional, as just really only seeing one person. I was in the military, and like I was pretty green growing up, like not cool. That I had like one high school sweetheart, and like we split just because of her going to school, and I ended up joining the military. But like the learning how to date was just like, who teaches you? Aside from say the movies, TV, music videos, and late night BET, Real Sex, the Spice Channel, and like having another like nice show like Nickelodeon on Last, so you don't get caught. But I didn't really know, like I didn't know, how to like, really love. Like I would be searching for it, but not really. I didn't know what I was doing. I meet someone and we were on and off again a couple times, and then it was her suggestion that we open the relationship, which it's like, I'm super interested in doing this, but like, are you sure? Like, you're okay with me sleeping with other people? Now, in this instance, it's just swinging for me. So my start is swinging. And we go to clubs, we go to orgies, we go to date other people.
Before you go into that though, is that something that were y'all together for a minute and then y'all made that decision, or was it a brand new thing for you?
Sure. We were dating for at most about a year and a half before that decision was made, and I loved it. Just listen, think of like Austin Powers, think of 007 just like slaying pipe like everywhere. Why would I want to stop this? Like it feels great.
Baby, yeah.
But the weird thing was like, how can I be good? Like, how can my sexuality expand? Like, but I still am not really good at love. So that relationship eventually failed. So we split up. I come back to Ohio, try dating. Dating is terrible. Just like the whole rules have changed. And again, like I'm still stuck on like kindergarten when it comes to dating. But over time, it's like I'm figuring out dating by going to see like monogamous people, so traditional dating, but also people in like the swinger community. At this time, I don't know anything about like the particular phrase like polyamory. I know like I'm okay with this person seeing someone else or going to do this thing. Like, it doesn't really affect my pride if say whoever I'm with goes to someone else for honestly another dicking, or you want to go see another woman. It's like, all right, do you need some help? Do you need like
you were good with it?
Yeah, I was super good with it. I think it was just the idea of I am fine with someone else caring about my person. What like it's no like I see the struggle that other people have with it, but like it's just not a societal norm. I end up meeting Tiffany again. So this is the last time I seen her is high school, and for me 04, and then here we are in 2021. That hey, like we want to take our time on this. We want to make sure this is real. And then we just kind of like, that's it. Like we reconnected each other by like commenting on the same Facebook post about polyamory. And like, wait, but you're like preacher's daughter. So you are you down? Like, and then we were like,
are you a PK?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what they say about the PKs anyway.
Them the freakiest one, boy. I ain't even gonna lie. Shit.
There you
Man.
go.
I get it honest. Yeah.
Yeah, she a freak. But then we started the podcast about like after, hey, we're pretty. We're not even experts. We're just not at all. We're just hey, here's some real time experience on us like really genuinely working through stuff on how to make this relationship work. So here we are now.
Hey, just a quick reminder that if you're liking this podcast, please hit the subscribe and like buttons, and also rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platforms. Thank you. I was telling Frank in the previous episode, talking about open relationships and exploring all that, and I was thinking, to me personally, it's not a lot of work, because I'm thinking about the time and energy you have to give, right, to multiple people.
Don't forget your wallet.
Don't forget what?
Don't forget your wallet. Oh man.
Yeah.
That too. I mean, going out with one person can get expensive. I'm trying to, do multiples. So, so for you guys, okay, you're a couple. Do you have others that you date consistently, like regular partners, or are you just, yeah?
We do have other partners. I have established partners, but also the occasional
Hoe venture.
The hoe venture, yes. Where like it's okay that if we're out and about that like we either of us see somebody we're interested in, it's like Godspeed. Let me know how I can help. Do we need to do like a
You do like wingman or wingman?
wingman?
Like my girl like you, hey, my man like
we do occasionally do that. It's kind of
Oh,
weird,
wow.
but it's almost naturally it happens. Not like we're not forcing it on either side. It just we're in a situation. Let's see what happens. So
I'm like, oh, hey, yo, babe, go get that O. You're fine. Like, yeah.
So how do you manage your time then and energy, balance it?
She's the calendar. My God.
I feel like for me, so structure helps me stay organized. So Google Calendar is like my best friend right now as far as keeping everything together. And although we are dating and we're in a relationship and we're established, his journey for his life and polyamory is his journey and my journey is mine. So trying to convince him of some of like the tools that I utilize that make this successful didn't always work. So I was like, you know what, babe, go ahead, do your thing, figure that out. And then when he's like, figure that out and maybe stressed out, it's like, okay, this isn't working. Okay, so what are you doing? So I've like convinced him now to use a calendar because that's really the only thing that's going to save us right now with keeping everything organized. And so he has a social calendar. I have a social calendar. We have a social calendar together. And that actually helps like maintain like, okay, so you want to hang out with this person tonight. I'm going to hang out with this person the next night or whatever. Yeah. And as long as that is in the calendar, usually everything works out the way it's supposed to. So.
And I'm assuming the other people that you guys are with, they are aware of you guys' lifestyle and they may live that lifestyle as well, or
we make them aware.
Well, and that's what polyamory is. Like if you want to look at the actual definition, so to speak, it's under the umbrella of a consensual non-monogamous relationship, but it's based on everybody knows that everything is going on. So everybody is consenting to participate in this arrangement. And that's, I mean, definitely foundational element, but that's definitely like one of our like set up boundaries that everybody has to know what's going on.
But it is not the only one that people follow.
True.
So like we can say that for us, we can see whoever we want. We wouldn't say we have an obligation or even a rule that says I have to tell Tiffany about every waking aspect of everybody I'm seeing. Like I do like the whoever we're seeing, we're also respecting like their privacy or their boundaries. It also doesn't mean that, say, I see Tiffany, but whoever I'm seeing, and I try to phrase it because I hate to say it, but there's a hierarchical structure that people like want to have when it comes to seeing other people, like Tiffany's bottom bitch. But or she's number one, but it's like whoever I'm seeing has to be at the same level as Tiffany. Like
so you don't Tiffany is not one and then you got a 2, 3, 4, 5. It's Tiffany's like, one, Jessica's one, Susie's one, Bob is one, whomever.
Like all those DMX names in that song, like about 3 Kims, like yeah. But like we
LaShawn, I mean just Felicia. There was about 3 Kims, Latoya and Felicia. Shit, dog.
Oh my
God. Now, it's not for a lack of trying that for the people that we've seen have tried to be like push Tiffany out of the way. And it's like we have to have a conversation. Like it doesn't work like this. Like I'm not trying to Tiffany is not in a constant battle. She doesn't have like a championship belt that says like you gotta be tier 1
to beat the man, you gotta beat yeah.
Yeah, like it is like people and it's a
I don't know,
common
Tiffany looking like
misconception,
shit. I'll rock bottom a bitch.
Like, I have a gift for you.
I'm
These
just saying,
hands.
don't let the dimples fool you, but
Try me if you want.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. We've found that it works very well, that we are very upfront about, like, we meet somebody, and then somewhere in that conversation that we say, like, hey, I do want you to know before we continue any further, like, I do have another partner, whether she's with me or not, like, in the space.
But they don't believe him a lot of the time.
They don't always believe me. It's like, no, like, they don't believe it's okay for me to say see them.
Yeah.
So like, want me to call? I'll FaceTime if you need me to. Huh?
He hasn't had to do that. I think the fact that we have open relationship, like on our Facebook, as far as tag to each other. Yeah. So that helps in that regard. But I'm sure it'll happen one day.
And it's like, it hurts when, like, they don't believe me, but it's like, I also get it because dating is trash. And there's some real sleazeballs out there that just make that claim, but not really own it. But we also want to make sure that we don't want to take away a decision from anybody that we're potentially wanting to see. If they don't know what we're about and they get involved with us, well, then, like, we've taken a choice away from them to be able to make a full conscious decision to keep and be engaging with us.
Now,
that's not right in any sense. So
I follow a group on Instagram where they talk about Black polyamory, and I'll see it with. I normally see it with the male and two females, and they're either living together. Do you guys invite? Have you ever had a third person that in you guys' relationship that you share to get, that y'all are sharing together, or
have tried? Some have tried.
It has happened once or twice, and I will say, and I'm not gonna make an assumption, but typically what I find in the Black community when it comes to polyamory is that it's always one man, two women. The relationship is closed. Nobody can date anybody else outside of that dynamic, and they're building their dynasty. Like, that's the goal. That's always the phrase that is being said. And that was not really something that I was interested in, because I don't want to be put in a box. I don't want to be like, I can only date y'all and that's it. Like, if I want to be a part of this life or this love style and have this freedom, then allow me to connect with whomever I connect. And that was the issue that I was kind of running into a lot with dating. And so it was kind of surprising to run into Joe, and that was not the mindset that he was looking for.
I'm so pure, I know.
Not
But yeah, from my end, like, I'm not interested in, like, owning people, which is a common misconception when we bring up like polyamory or opening relationship, or like a friends with benefits situation, that just the belief that I am eventually going to groom you into you're gonna be
sister wife
was the next word I was gonna say. I'm not interested in that. Like,
we're not looking for a third
at all. It's more like we're not sold on a particular structure. But if the opportunity presents itself and it's like everyone's in agreement, we are open to the idea.
If it organically happens that way.
Because the thing about polyamory or open the relationship is that think of like monogamy in the structure of that one person, that's them for the rest of their lives, and you can't even like say look at another person and say you're cute. Like there's a pretty strict, rigid way that you have that relationship. But when it comes to polyamory, you can make whatever rules you want, as long as everybody's in agreement of what this is, how we communicate with each other, and say who you could sleep with. We get a lot of people, poor Tiffany, gets invited to like be the somebody like, what is it, like somebody has a one penis policy that's like interested in you. Or like you can like, well, if you date me, you can only sleep with me, like not even me, like the hell.
So you get it more. So you say men are more territorial than women. Oh, and I'll even preface this by saying that this, do you guys? And there's no judgment with me, maybe with Jason. But do you? Are you both bi? I don't know, bi-curious or whatever. I don't know the word.
Yeah, I am straight, so I am only interested in women.
I'm complicated.
Yeah,
we'll just say that.
Yeah. Like, I'll even go as far because we got an ass on our wall up here, but I'll say. Like
Tiffany, is that your ass?
It is not, and it is not Joe's ass either.
Not my ass.
So
well, I'm glad it's not Joe's ass. I mean,
we actually won that in a raffle. A local artist, Dina Jolie. If y'all want to like look up her stuff, but the wedding photographer. So great work and just like
nice.
I think that's one of her muse's asses, and it's just like. Pray to it, like
it's very nice.
Hallelujah, pass the peas.
But straight, but very comfortable would say like, hey, Tiffany is interested in like another dude being involved with us. Like, all right, it's like, oh, I can look at this and be like, go to work, and it's like, you have a nice haircut. But that's about it. Like I'm trying to be like you, dog. Like, come on.
Do you work out?
Juice do you drink? Like,
oh my God.
When you was talking about the structure and all, I think a lot of folks, kind of confuse polyamory with polygamy, right? Where polygamy is more of that control where the man has his wives or women and they're just like, you're mine. But with polyamory, there's more of a freedom, right?
Absolutely.
I'll say it has the potential to have that freedom, but people like getting into it, figuring out what they want. It is their call on we'll say limitations, the boundaries, the rules that they have in place. So you don't have, like, there's something about, say, monogamy where like you feel obligated to have to do this. You are obligated to follow this path of being with this person for a certain amount of time, putting a ring on their finger, putting a baby in them or 12, and white picket fence. Like
relationship escalator stuff.
Relationship escalator is the term that's typically used for it. Where like polyamory has the potential to be like, marriage does not have to be the ultimate goal. Personally, I will marry Tiffany. Yes. So we can use this episode to like say like you said that live. But we've talked like the talk about kids, the talk about finances. What does it look like if if a partner or our partners want to be more involved in our lives? Say someone, you have long distance relationships. What does it look like? Like if you want to go take a visit to go see them over there. Gifts, paying for things, being there for some really rough moments and like establishing the boundaries of, can I call you? The talk of protection.
How do you do that? Like if there were, and first off, do y'all live together?
No, I love my space too much, way too much. So I love her. But
love her enough to keep her at her damn house.
Thanks, yeah.
So how do y'all do that though? Like if you want to talk to her, let's say if something went on in your life, or even Tiffany, something went on in your life, you want to talk to each other. How do you do that? Do you is it just a text? Hey, can you talk, or what's going on?
We're talking about talking to each other about a problem.
Yeah.
No, we're pretty established in our relationship. So like early on, it was definitely a lot of, hey, do you have a moment to talk, or are you free? Or I don't think either one of us really took the liberty of just calling like right then and there, or like showing up at the house right then and there. Like we asked a lot of questions or at the
what's up, dog? This is my time.
Right.
This is my time, man.
Like you don't just do that. But now like we've been dating officially like a year and a half, give or take. So now like
our anniversary is Sunday. So yeah.
That yes.
Anniversary.
Thank you. But
anniversary.
But we had, oh my god. But we, we have keys to each other's houses. We're each other's emergency contact. So we are doing, I guess, relationship escalator type things, but that wasn't necessarily the goal. It felt right to do that.
It felt like it's our way of showing, like, you know what, I love you. I'm gonna put you on my life insurance or something like
yeah.
How'd you got a calendar too, so that helps.
Calendar works, yeah.
Like, this is her day for. Oh, okay, I can't come.
I still fuck up. We had that talk too. Like, oh man, because I'm more spontaneous and like I'm in a moment and it's just like, oh my god, let's do this like right now. And it's like, oh my god, a blue car. Like, let's go follow. Like, little squirrel. But
and I like spontaneity too, but unfortunately in this life you can't always do that like you want to. You can't just show up at somebody's place. You can't just surprise them with whatever. You do have to kind of check in, like, what if they're on a date? What if they're busy doing just other things in general with their life, and you don't want to infringe on that time? And so the calendar element does help, because if he is on a date or if I'm on a date, typically we're not checking in a whole lot with each other or talking to each other, just because we want to make sure that we are focused on the person that we're with at that time. But if it was like an emergency situation or anything like that, that's a no-brainer to do whatever you need to do.
We might have like an occasion, like a check-in before and a check-in after, or like I'll let her know, like, I'm on a break, like, hey, things are going well, might be home soon, might get them, might get them giblets. But
do y'all ever talk about like the other person?
Yeah.
As far as in what way?
And like to each other, like, ooh, Joe, this motherfucker.
Oh yeah, girl. Oh yeah. That's all me. That's all me.
So Tiffany's a shit talker.
I don't shit talk, but I get a feel for the energy that's around me, and I get a feel for how the person is interacting with him or with me or just in the space. And so I'm just like, you might want to be careful there, but do your thing. If you connected, let's see where that goes. But just be careful with what you're doing.
Deep waters, watch out.
Like full red flag, but okay.
Yeah, my check-ins usually have to be about like, yeah, I've seen this person, and like I have a rose-colored glasses problem sometimes. Like, just everything looks red, which is my favorite color. So I'm like, let's go full, like, that's a stoplight, that's a stop sign, Joe. Slow down. It's like, okay, these things are going really well. I need you to ground me a little bit to let me know, like, yeah, she just happened to like, pay for the entire like steak dinner. And it's like, that's really nice. Like, but like, you ever hear like that crazy hot scale? Like, I got to check in with her, because like, I think this is a thing where I might go missing if I continue this thing.
Oh my God.
is my credit score going to go down? Or like, is this person about to just, axe murder me or something? But
yeah.
So do y'all ever warn the other? Like,
oh, yeah.
warn like, oh, you better watch out about her or him or whatever.
There be discrepancies in this person. Like,
I mean, we're both human, so humans be humaning for real. But I think we each have our own level of attraction to some toxicity at times, and so the other party sometimes has to, hey, slow down. It's okay. I understand that they're hot, or y'all got the energy, the chemistry going, whatever, but just make good choices. That's all I ask.
There is a demographic of people that want to practice open relationship, tend to be, and this is just a description of what people might perceive, but they perceive them to be damaged. There's something wrong with them, that something in their life happened to make it so that, like, I can't find the one, so I'm going to find more than one. And it's like, that could be even our story a bit, that we have been through enough to say that we've had some moments of caution to the wind and say, like, we're going to see whoever we want and we're just going to make it work the best we can. But from there, we iron out, because, and we would like to say we're with age comes wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
and experience comes wisdom. That
Mm-hmm.
these methods, these tools, these habits, stratagems make it so that if we're going to continue this, like in this path, this is how we make it work without hurting ourselves or each other or people that we want to have involved with us. Because it's really tricky to be like, you know, really, I really want to do this, like maybe even like we'll consider like a one night stand, but like, do we want to consider the person's feelings? So,
yeah.
Which if that's what people, that's what the party involved like agrees to, this like we're going to do this and just, you know, hey, have a nice life. That's fine. It's just a lot of, to make this work, I would say the basis of making any open relationship, whether you're going to do swinging, whether you're going to do polyamory or whatever form of non-monogamy you want to do, a strong communication, just very overt explanation of what do you want. It might even, you might think it like takes away like the allure, the sexy time that we have to stop and really talk about what do we want to do here, but it saves a world of hurt when you've made your boundaries, your expectations very clear on what you want, and then proceed forward from there.
So it says open relationship, and you guys are established, right? You said you got keys to each other's houses and so forth. So what happens when one of the other partners, you start catching feelings and it gets kind of serious with the other party? Has it happened, or for
Yes.
you, for the other party, and then what? Like, then what?
We can talk about us, and then we can also talk about like the fear that people have, because that's also a topic for us. So yeah,
I feel like it goes back to the relationship escalator portion, and so people make the assumption that if I have fallen in love with Joe, and then I fall in love with partner B as well, then that means that I'm also going to go like have a key to their place, and also going to start building things with them and think about marriage things, or think about children, or think about X, Y, and Z. And really, at least how we operate, the relationships that we have with other people, we allow the space for that to just develop into whatever it's going to be. So if love happens to be there, that's cool. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that does not necessarily mean that translates into the things that maybe I have with Joe. So like, there's a lot of things in our relationship that we have with each other that we don't have with other people, but also vice versa.
Do y'all think that you could be in love with two people at the same time?
We already are. Okay. and it's taking a lot of conversation.
Jason, that was he said, wait a minute.
I truly think you can. I think you can.
It blows people's minds.
Yeah.
We'll go out and we tell people like, yeah, like this is
wait a minute.
Tiffany, this is my partner.
Yeah.
I love them both. Yeah.
Well, let me.
This nigga got sound effects.
Rewind.
He told me that we got sound effects now.
So let me put it in a different way to see if that'll kind of relax your brain going in implosion right now for a minute. I feel like you can love multiple people regardless, and technically we already do. If you really think about the relationships that you already have.
Preach, preacher. Preach, preacher, kid.
However, I don't think that you can love people the same way.
Wow.
So like, I love Joe, but I don't love my other partners like I love Joe.
But that's not a scale of more or less.
But that's not more or less. It's just
different.
Different way.
It's just different. But like,
you love
if
your
you
family.
have multiple kids, I'm assuming you love all of your kids, maybe differently, but you love all of them.
You might love one more than the other.
You might have a favorite, but you still.
I tell all my kids they my favorite. Now
they're all your favorites.
They're all my favorite, but they're my favorite in different ways. I love them in different ways. That's the truth.
Right.
You love your family, but you also love sports. You have you have a favorite movie.
Tell them, Joe. Tell them, Joe.
Yeah, you can.
I love golf too, but I don't want to go bang it. But shit.
But you love golf and you love football. You love golf in a certain way that you love football.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
And
whatever, however you need to explain it to yourself, that works.
that's usually the example we use to like explain like you are allowed to love people, like multiple people at once. And now I'll say that it's not something that just like I'm going to meet somebody and I am definitely going to find a way for them to fall in love with me, or there is a clear linear path to like that says, since I've seen this person, we have to get to this point. We have to get to the point of I get in your pants, or I have to get in this point of getting like saying I love you, or getting a ring. And then even if we get to somehow we get to a point of love, it's not like an immediate thing of I see you at the bar, now we're in love. Like, no, that's a little extreme. Just and we wouldn't expect that of you of like a monogamous relationship either. There's still we'll go out, the dates. I communicate to Tiffany that, you know, this is what's happening. We have the conversation of this is how this person makes me feel. This is where I see that it's going. Just for, you know, some partners, it's like, I feel this particular way about them. And I'll even check in, you know, I care about what Tiffany feels when I talk about how I care about this person. Is there something that I can do? How do I support you in this? Or
reassurance.
That's like our common phrase. When we just, something's happened, some major change is happening, or a major field is happening. How do I support it?
Hey, just a quick reminder that if you're liking this podcast, please hit the subscribe and like buttons, and also rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platforms. Thank you.
How does an argument look like? What does an argument look like with a polyamorous couple?
The same way that your arguments would look like with a monogamous thing. Like
Really?
there really isn't anything different.
Well, you know, with a monogamous couple, they like, nah, motherfucker, you ain't going out today. You gonna stay right here. That's a monogamous couple.
That can happen, yes.
We gonna talk about this shit. Yeah. Now, why did you put the eggs on the second shelf and not the top shelf?
And you were like, it's Tuesday. I'm going over her house. I'm out. It's the wrong fucking day to be over here.
Call me any motherfucking way.
What are you doing over here? Go.
Wrong day for this.
To be fair, like I think because we have such a
you got till 12, you got till 11:59.
You gotta go. Why are you still in the bed?
You gotta go.
You gotta go.
Yeah. No, we have such a solid communication standpoint between us that like we do fight, we do have arguments, but it doesn't happen very often. But the things that we do fight about honestly have nothing to do with polyamory. It really does have everything to do with just what's going on between us at that time. And I think if we're going to use an example, we'll be all the way transparent. Our most recent fight had something to do with the calendar, and it was nothing to do with like the polyamory itself. But there was a misunderstanding on what was said on the calendar, and I got upset and was like, well, fuck it, I'm just not going then. You do whatever. And so we had one of those. And like I said, it's just, it felt like a normal conversation. Yes, another party happened to be involved or be like a subcategory of that talk, but it really had nothing to do with the polyamory aspect. It was a moment of feeling like I was being dismissed or not being heard. And that is something that I have dealt with in previous monogamous relationships too.
Yeah. So. Like using that incident as an example, that how do we figure out how to move forward with the problem that is like right here? And what you would think is that a common misconception is that let's say I have a problem with Tiffany, or there's a problem between us, that like, you know what, I'm just going to go over to this other person and this person is going to make me feel better. Let's just go over to this other person and they're going to make me feel better. And it's like, we don't do that, but there's a lot of people that, you know, say might. A lot, especially in like the swinger community, where like, hey, I'm not getting what I need at home, I'm going to go over here and like do this. And it's like, that's okay. But if the communication there is like not, you know, solid, then that's when it turns into fights. That's when it looks like, well, polyamory, swinging can be toxic. It's like, you have to go at it responsibly. And then even say like ownership of, hey, this problem happened. Let me, you know, I apologize for how that went, or I'm sorry for like my forgetfulness in this calendar thing. You do not have to be the one to solve this.
Mhm.
I will take ownership and I'll make this right.
Mhm.
So
How do you guys handle performance issues? Or are there any performance issues? Like if you were with so and so Monday and on Tuesday you like womp, 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 womp.
Holy podcast. You want to know how you do it?
I guess I'll start with this one. Okay. So I am able to communicate freely.
Before you start, remember, I heard your episode you sent me. I listened to the whole thing. So just for you,
you're just like, hey, has this ever happened in the club? It has. And it's like, you know what? I'm so sorry. Let me get you a drink.
So y'all was at
that was not my
club.
A+ experience.
So y'all were at the swinger club and it was just like, yeah,
it can happen. No, it didn't happen with us.
It has not happened with us, but he has shared stories with me that has been a thing.
I just wasn't ready. I might have
never happened before.
I might have drank too much.
It's happened to me. It's happened to me.
Yeah, it happened. So, and I'll tell you, you know the cool thing about like say polyamory and like that communication thing, that like if you get yourselves in a point with whoever you're interested in, whoever you're with, about having space to be allowed to be vulnerable for a moment about talking about like, hey, I'm supposed to be a man here. Like I'm supposed to be rock hard and give her that Lexington steel, like, or that Byron Long, but I couldn't.
Name them all. Let's go ahead and name
Mr. Marcus.
And she's supposed to be giving that Jada 5.
Like walk 5,000. Like, nah, we can't. It's like, but we aren't always at that level, and it's like it's okay to talk about like, hey, I wasn't there. Like, what happened? What were we thinking? Did we over drink ourselves? Did we overhype ourselves? Were we tired? That's what happens. That's usually what happens. Like when they end the performance thing. Even a vulnerability of my mind is not 100% in the moment, like with Tiffany. Not because I don't love her. There's a lot going on. Even maybe like, hey, this thought is turning me on right now. I'm going to use that and take that out on Tiffany. Like, it's okay to, and then
I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Or even a, hey, I am interested. I have a need to be with this person like right now. I love you. Please don't, take this as I love you less or find you less attractive. Just how do we? Is it okay if I like go like over here? Like yeah. Deuces. Go
At
back
that point, do you call somebody else, or are you just like, I'm good for the night?
It will depend on my mood in that particular instance.
On that horniness level.
It might be a self-love moment. It might be, okay, you have your thing, I'm gonna go to sleep or do whatever, or I'll find some other dick. I don't know. So we'll see. Just depends on what happened.
I can dig that. Pornhub can be a lot of people's best friend too, I'm just saying.
I'm an XNXX fan myself, but yeah.
I like that one too. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard that.
You heard, yeah.
Where's my Bible? Let me go get.
I didn't see a sermon in there.
Let me go get my Bible. Let me see. Genesis.
Didn't say quiet.
500.
Didn't say quiet.
500
That's not how
chapter.
tabernacle works. Like what?
3,000 verse.
You ain't got no Bible in that house. Damn.
Right? It's around here somewhere. It's probably locked up somewhere.
It's on his phone. That's all.
Y'all got the app.
I call my mama. Mama,
you gotta use
this one about? What is saying about this? Speaking of mamas, with you being a PK and then Joe too, with you guys as parents, what do they think about your lifestyle?
My parents are on board. They were like, if you're happy, we're happy. And that's all they care about. And they have met Joe and know what we do, listen to our podcast, and they've met other partners as well. And it doesn't bother them whatsoever.
They like me. They invite me to things. It's like, oh.
They say him my favorite.
Him the favorite. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Facts.
I'm your mom's favorite though. So.
Yeah, we just like swap moms. It's like, but my mom, I've been open about when I was swinging. Still am, but and open about the polyamory and opening the relationship. And she's been very understanding as far as like allowing me to just live my life the way that I want to, while still having disagreements with it and still reaching out to us of like if there's like something he's trying to understand, like she'll listen to our podcast, like oh yeah, I get it now, like okay, I understand that. Not something that she would do for herself, but it's like that's what we get to. And then the rest of the family, they have their questions. Speaking of family, it's like when we talk about open relationships and correlations to our family, even like the Black community, but you can really compare it to the whole Papa was a Rolling Stone thing, and then you never had a word for it. Or like that communication wasn't like 100%, but like, hey, stepdad and baby mama thing, like kind of open in the relationship, even though like
it's an unspoken conversation that everybody knows what's going on, but nobody talks.
Well, you just really can't sing that like the same. You can't say Papa was polyamorous. That don't go. That don't go.
Make the first song that's polyamorous, like a polyamorous, like love song.
If Papa was polyamorous and Papa was a Rolling Stone, that should go.
But
what Boys to Men song into a polyamorous song.
What is the difference between swinging and being polyamorous?
Great question.
Swinging is mainly just sex, like it's more on the open side of the relationship, whereas polyamorous, you really are open to the emotional aspect of a relationship.
Letting love in, say even like building a potential life with that person. So swinging, like I said, that's where I started. Going to clubs. So the conversations with my person at the time was sex is fine. We have rules of like checking in on each other, but that's as far as it goes. Like we might like grab their number to say like, let's have some fun again later. But not allowed to fall in love. At least that wasn't like my rules at the time. Okay. Which you kind of find out that like there is a little bit of love, maybe not even an in love, but like an actual affection for the person that is satisfying you. Like some people call it whipped. It happened. Then and then like polyamory, like you could do both. So like swinging is not polyamory, but polyamory can include swinging. Or polyamory can include hoe ventures. So
because
I met like an umbrella thing. Yeah.
I knew a couple who actually they were swinging with a couple, with another couple. They divorced they divorced each other and then married
each other.
They married the opposite one. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I think that sounds so convenient though. Like
well, I was thinking, well, shit, why even get a fucking divorce? I mean, shit.
Did they continue swapping then?
Yeah, that part.
Did they get each other's houses? Like
the girl that I was dating, we broke up, so I was like,
you didn't get the rest of the story.
The whole story, So, oh my God, that sounds like shit. I need to go knock on their door now.
There's a biblical metaphor in there somewhere.
Somewhere he'll find it. He'll find it. But I'm wondering with polyamory though. So, do you have non-sexual relationships and not like a platonic, but actual relationship that's intimate but not sexual?
You can, in general. We personally don't, because we are not asexual, and we do actually like having sex with our other people. So that is a thing. But in the polyamorous community, there are people who abstain from sex, or they consider their platonic relationship a part of their like polycule or that polyamorous element for them too. So
that couple can decide, say, we're just like I have a husband or wife, and I have one other, or two or three others, and it's not to say about like that they can decide between themselves as like, is this something where I'm having sex with all of them, or are we seeing other people outside of the say established like couples themselves? It is literally their call, like on that. So it's only cheating if someone breaks like crosses a boundary or breaks a rule that they've established themselves. So we get the, hey, it's not cheating if there's permission. It's like, careful, because cheating still hurts.
Yeah.
So if you
go ahead. I'm sorry.
If you make the rule, like if you two have agreed to a rule, and even if it is polyamory, like some people would say, like, well, this is what you signed up for. We're like, well, why not? We're like, well, what you signed up for was whatever you communicated with your partner. And if that is violated,
away from that,
then that's going to hurt, and that's going to take some work to fix. And it's not a solution of just, you've hurt this person, now go find someone else to, and you can't avoid, you shouldn't avoid and dealing with that if you're in that relationship. Like that's a healthy solution. Yes,
I got one. I got a scenario.
Got it.
Let's say, all right. So Tiffany and Joe, I'll ask you. You meet someone, and it's Sweet Dick Willie, and Joe, you meet somebody that's Sweet Pussy Pam, and y'all find out that they are related to the other. What's the deal?
Related to
so Willie and Pam are related?
Sweet Dick Willie is related to Joe, and Sweet Pussy Pam is related to Tiffany.
Okay, to be fair, because Joe has an extremely large family in the Columbus area, it's a possibility that could happen.
They didn't think you were about to say family.
That's another podcast. Anyway,
number 2.
Another podcast, part 2. Yeah. No, he has a significantly large family, and so it is a possibility that I could run into somebody that is related to him. We have not had that scenario happen yet.
Yeah, this is a live reaction of like, huh.
So how I don't know how it feels. I guess it would depend on how close the family member is, maybe, for me to really have a reaction. Because I will say personally, this is my own boundary. This is not set up for him, but I have chosen to not connect romantically with like people that are his friends or people he considers like his confidants in that regard. And that's just because I feel like when you cross those things, it can get real messy. And it's just like I would.
So there's no family night or taboo. I mean, with the people that y'all are together, y'all never have like a group party.
With our family, no.
No, not necessarily with family, but like with the people that you got, the other people that
the
you
community,
got the community. So y'all be like, hey, y'all
it's a block party,
game of taboo. See who really know each other.
Was that movie Neighborhood Watch? Which like something in the basement, like yeah.
She's like,
I mean, I have set up parties and orgies before. Great time. A melanated orgy.
Get your number, man.
We need sponsors. Anyway.
I'm not opposed to it happening if it happens organically, but I choose not to actively like, hey, let me go talk to your boy real quick. Like I just would prefer not to do that. But it has happened with even other partners before where they have connected with some of my friends. And it felt kind of awkward for me at the time. It was just like, I'm cool with y'all connecting, but now I feel like I need to kind of back away from that friendship as well, because it feels like I can't be fully transparent with them now. Like, especially like if I'm having a problem with this partner and I want to complain to my friend, but my friend is dating that partner, it feels like
girl, I feel you. He ain't nothing. He ain't shit. Hey, Joe, I got you. Sir, I got you. I know what you're going through.
This bitch.
Yeah, I know her. I know. Trust me.
Exactly. So
this like, bitch talking, but throwing salt on my name. You gonna put some respect on my name right
now. As far as me, like, okay, because I'm really thinking about this in like real time. Personally, on my side, I am more the side of I don't mind if we've like been friends, though it is a conversation on like how are we gonna like navigate this. I will say it's not something where we are open about being poly. Our friends know this. even sometimes they have to worry about like, you're gonna try to sleep with me one of these times. And maybe that's true, but it's always a choice. Like I don't take that, like I make sure it's like, hey, it's something that you've chosen to do this too. But anyway, if it were family, it's like the worry that I would have is people talk and the destruction that like that talking could have. I would hate.
Holidays would be awesome.
On the elder of the family, like, so who brought you here today?
Which one?
Like right here. Like
where do you sit? Do you sit?
Where do you? It's one of those things where like we bring, like one of them brings a plate, but one of them is like we like, so we're gonna keep this plate, but the other one, this tastes store bought. Like, so I guess I would be more like, it's not so much about like you dating that person, it's more of like the ripple effect that could occur.
Mm-hmm.
Like we would want to be, I hate to use the word control, but we want to make sure we have control of our own narrative.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want that to affect like the family bond, or say Tiffany's ability to be able to connect with my family.
Do you guys have a natural element of jealousy at all?
I get okay. I've had the sentence. So I don't get jealous if she's sleeping with somebody else, dating someone else. Like I encourage, like, let me help me out with this, or
like oh no, girl, wear that dress.
Like
don't wear this one.
He does that actually.
It's like I love her in a sundress, and then like another season's gone. But like, man,
God.
I know the jealousy I feel comes from Tiffany going to someone for something that like, but this is my expertise. Like I guess I would get it if like you could discuss with me, like you would feel more comfortable like going to this person, but like if you don't involve me in something that hurts you or like what's important to you, we'll be like, well, why don't you want to talk to me about that? Not necessarily a problem with us, like we're been pretty good with like sharing, but I know it's like an issue, say, with like other partners, where like if it is something established, where like we are a lot more established, like come to me, like it's fine, like I get it, like the boundaries, and like I will respect that you're not ready to come to me with this, but like I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know like how can I help you, how can I support you in this, but then also dealing with like, hey, there's that jealous moment, and like okay, like, but what can I do about it? Is it something where like it is worth like say crossing a line? It's like, well, no. I get where people come from, where someone, you want to sleep with somebody else, or like you get that jealousy feeling from somebody that I'm like they're not with me in the moment, and say you have like some insecurities come about from like something like that, and it's normal. Like we're not even saying our experience is our own, and we've just had a life where our experiences have got us to the point of being very comfortable with talking to each other. Anybody else interested in getting into this probably has a few steps to get through, like that jealousy, where it's not a matter of you got to get rid of that jealousy. It is, what do you do about it when it comes about?
Well,
Tiffany, do you feel something?
Well, yeah, like honestly, I really don't experience jealousy in, I guess, in the regular way, if that's even how you want to call it. I do experience envy though, because sometimes like he'll have an experience with one of his partners or another partner or whatever, and I'm like, well, damn, I wanted to do that too with you. So like I'll have one of those moments, but I never really have a problem with him going and doing all the things, meeting new people, connecting, whatever. It's just like, just give me a call when you're done, or like let me make sure you're okay, or let's reconnect at that point. But I do feel like that's always the biggest question from anybody outside of this polyamory, but also people feel like that's the biggest struggle within our community as well. And I just feel like jealousy, it's a normal emotion, it's a valid emotion, and I think people feel like it's such a negative thing, and it's really not. It's just there's a core problem to why the jealousy is happening. So it's like, where is it actually stemming from? And then once you work through what the core problem is, typically it'll kind of dissipate, or you'll just be able to kind of work through it a little bit faster if it comes up again.
Have feeling that jealousy responsibly, like, because we as a community might have a bit of a, you know, and I'm not saying there's a lot, but a violence problem that we want to solve. We want to say, that's my woman. Have at thee, or even pull out the guns. And it's like, you know, there's a much better way to work through this than, you know, the machismo, the bravado of like man up, like chest puffed out, or like going to scrub against somebody, because you want to look like, you
not like literally fuck them all.
Yeah,
let's not argue. Let's fuck them all.
That's how we solve all the fights. Yeah,
like fuck, like you just want to have sex, like. Yeah, sure. Oh, God, world peace established by the world's greatest, like, biggest orgy. Like,
no, that's something actually somebody taught me like several years ago. If you feel an argument coming on, y'all should get naked and then have the argument and see how long that goes.
So when I square up with Steve, like
write that down.
Everything's coming off.
That's a word right there.
That may be one of my Facebook
that's a bar
posts in the off season, Jay. That's gonna be one of my posts in the off season, dog. Yeah. Hey, dog, I'm serious.
Like, oh, we gonna argue. Hold on 1 second, and then And then,
still mad?
What'd you say, Mr. President?
Hey, it happened for in Boomerang. You know, one was mad. She came late from the flight. She's like, "Oh, so you're mad?"
Okay.
I'm gonna just argue with Tiffany right now.
Let's fight.
That's what's up, bro.
Pick a fight right now, Joe. Like,
we fighting.
Bullshit. Pick it off.
Part 2, yeah.
You kind of touched upon it a little bit. So, boundaries, right? I'm guessing that is like super important to have this work. Is it like general boundaries to the whole community, or do you have just your own specific boundaries that operate within your relationship?
I think it's both.
Yeah, so like we have our own rules, boundaries on our own relationship. But as let's say the polyamorous community that is like of America, there is a think of it like a school of thought, I guess, like a knowledge base of like, here are some things to consider that make it polyamory. And then as we keep making, we make the boundaries, like you've probably seen the books out there, the shows, the other content providers that say like are in this type of relationship, that this is what works for them, or give this a try. Just if it works, great. If people try out a new way, a new boundary, a new method, test it out, see how it may or may work for you, and then that's just you like, we've decided like how we're going to take this piece of knowledge and it's going to work for us and try. There's just no very set way on how to have your relationship, though there would be, say, a lot of rules on what you shouldn't do. Say the whole no violence with each other, say consent in everything is like a very common one. So just because that we're open to seeing like multiple people, it isn't something that we say we're just like going through the village and just snatching like all the wives and daughters about. So sort of like it do look like that a little bit sometimes, like when we're just going like lock your life out.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like there's so many like schools of thought on like how to like do this. We're just one of them, but in our experience we have tried various ways to kind of mold a way to say like, well, just keep this in mind on if you're considering doing it this way. So
it's kind of like similar to, you know, no relationship is the same to the next relationship. So same way in polyamory, the way we polyam is not how other people may polyam. So but I would say like there's, like he said, there's foundational elements that are pretty consistent throughout the community, but everybody's relationship looks different. So
okay, all right, nice. Well, I will say this has been very, very enlightening.
One of the best damn.
Have we convinced you to try polyamory, good sir?
I feel like you look scared, Jason. I feel like we scared you a few times on this.
Get the shit out of here.
No, I ain't scared. So with polyamory, I think for me, like we was talking about jealousy, right? I think jealousy stems from sometimes insecurity, right?
Yeah.
It's very secure with any relationship. And I think with a polyamorous from that, I think have to be really secure. And to not let those feelings creep up like, oh, wait a minute, what the hell? So
there's also that element of ownership though too. And I think that is a heavy aspect in, especially in monogamy. But like we're together and I may call him mine or he calls me his, but I don't own him and he doesn't own me. And so that I think makes a significant difference in how we operate because we have that mentality too.
I would even go as far as to say that, like you said, you're owning like a potential insecurity about the idea of opening a relationship. That it's not just you have to be 100% like super secure. It could also be about you are actively working towards, you know, getting through that insecurity. I would even say that something about polyamory when I opened up about it, opened up a lot of avenues for me to better myself. Like when I recognize like this is a thing, this is a fault that I feel about myself or something that I should be working on myself. It's okay for me to do that. Like, so
gave you the space to work through it.
Yeah, you are not wrong for what you're feeling like right now. But if you ever considered, you know, say doing that or maybe even having the conversation with someone, you're in no rush to do anything. And even our podcast is not saying you absolutely have to go see everybody, have like 100 sister wives in the end. It's, if you are considering doing this, there are a few right ways. Communicate, and then even, well, ownership of your own feelings, and then maybe even working through those. So.
We're also not trying to convince you to be poly, by the way.
Yeah, Jay. They're not trying to.
We noticed you stopped breathing for a second.
Trying to tell him come over to the dark side.
And the church
I don't know how all of a sudden Frank became he's in the circle and I'm like on the outside. Like
Frank is co-signing now.
Frank's already got his keys in the punch
but I mean, I love the freedom and the communication aspect of it and not having to like, damn, I like that, but I can't. I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm not against it. I just haven't tried it.
Tomorrow's a good day to start. All right.
Is there?
But whenever you're ready.
Don't get that nigga started.
Is there a sign up somewhere? Is there a page I should go follow?
Get you an OkCupid. They are the best dating service for like polyamory. Like they're the only one that actually like caters to polyamory.
Okay, Cupid. But Frank, what was that one we was looking at before? That
A Fat Life.
That one to find sex partners. I think long time ago.
It was Ashley Madison or something like that.
Adult Friend Finder.
Yes.
Bling, SLS.
I remember that one. Adult Friend Finder.
I'm married.
So you know what? And I'll tell you, I was
It's
interested
for
in
research purposes.
You know, yeah, I got it because we gotta have part 2, and I gotta know what I'm talking about in part 2 when I go to OK Cupid. You said okay.
Research, yeah.
That okay. We'll clarify. That one's for polyamory. The other things I talked about, like you can have polyamory there, but they're definitely more tailored toward like y'all gonna fuck. Like at least OK Cupid, it gives a space of you don't have to throw sex in there like right away, but it gives like a lot more aspects or a lot more labels of relationships aside from the other ones that you're using like Tinder or Bumble, where you match with somebody and that's just you two from there.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I know we're trying to wrap it up, but one last question: how did you guys reconnect? Because you said you met in high school, but how did you reconnect? Did you reconnect on something like that, or did you reconnect in like a swingers party or whatever?
Awesome.
So we actually reconnected in a much more wholesome way. If you
Not church.
At a barbecue at church.
No,
At the church.
neither of those.
You know
no.
I'm polyamorous, right?
So
Me, her, and Jesus.
so to make it a hopefully shorter story, he actually saw my mother at a mental health panel thing that she was presenting on, and they actually talked. He saw her as like mentor moment, didn't realize that it was my mom, and they connected on Facebook. And one day she posted something, he commented, and I was like, how the fuck do you know my mom? Like, what's happening? And so he was like, wait, that's your mom. And so that's how we connected. And so just Facebook post on my mother's profile. So
then we went on a couple dates, like, hey, let's take our time. Like, you know what? I just want to be a fuckboy. And then I wasn't, because like, you know what, girl, I'm gonna sign your pity on the running card.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a shit, Jay, that's a shit. What a tide on it.
What I say? Whizzle bizzle. Pushed out that milk cup.
24/7, y'all. 24/7. Jesus. But yeah, that's how we were.
Nice. I applaud that.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. well done.
Pull out the bill. So switch it.
Yeah, well done. Pootie Tang in effect.
Yeah.
Well done. Joe, Tiffany.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
It has been a pleasure. Y'all are fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. We thank you for coming on the podcast. It was really, really enjoyable. I think.
Thank you for having us.
One of our best ones, I think.
Thank you for not cursing. Thank you
Yeah,
for not cursing and saying a couple of Bible verses while y'all were here.
Fuck that, Frank.
Say a little serenity prayer on the mic. Gonna sanitize this microphone.
Yeah.
Get that sage back out.
Yeah, pull out my sage.
No, the Palo Santo.
The Palo Santo.
Whatever the hell he got. Whatever it is.
Take a pregnancy test after this one.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And on that note,
Yes, sir.
Yo and Tiffany,
Yes.
Big Frank,
Hey, Wood, what's happening?
we out, y'all. Let's move on.
Peace.